Courage is not a one-time decision. No, it's a daily practice. Let me ask you something. How many dreams have you had that never got off the ground because you were waiting for the right time? You see, we wait until we feel more comfortable. We wait until we feel less afraid. And we wait until everything is perfectly lined up. But here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes after action. And fear, it doesn't go away until we step through it. That's why today we are talking about courage in action. Because the fearless mindset isn't just about what you think. It's about what you do. Hello there, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning into Mentium, the podcast that takes you on a journey to unlock the full potential of your mind. My name is Majama. I will be your host and your guide on this adventure into the fascinating realm of mindset, mental fitness, and personal growth. Get ready to unleash the power of your mind with Mentium. This is episode 3 in our Fearless Mindset series, where we're learning how to face fear, silence doubt, and step boldly into our dreams. In episode 1, we talked about the foundation, what fear really is, and how action kills fear. In episode 2, we dug into the inner critic and how to rewrite the stories in your head. And today, we are taking the next step, putting courage in action. Because a fearless mindset without action is like fuel in a car with no key in the ignition. It has potential, but it won't take you anywhere until you move. So, what does courage really mean? Courage is one of the most misunderstood words. Most people think courage is the absence of fear, that bold, fearless people don't get scared. But that's not true. Every human being feels fear. The difference is some let fear stop them while others keep moving. Courage is not about never being afraid. It's about acting in the presence of fear. Think of the first time you spoke in front of a group, or the first time you tried something new. Your heart was racing, your palms was sweaty, your mind overthinking. But you did it anyway. That was courage. Courage is a decision. It's saying, yes, I feel fear, but fear doesn't get the final say. And the beautiful thing is, courage is not a trait you were born with. It's a muscle you can build, just like lifting weights. The more you practice courage, the stronger it gets. And when you don't use it, it atrophies. History is full of stories of ordinary people who did extraordinary things, not because they weren't afraid, but because they chose courage over fear. Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison, but never stopped fighting for freedom. Rosa Parks, who was terrified, but chose to sit down and say no to injustice. Everyday people you and I know, immigrants starting over in a new land, single parents raising children, entrepreneurs risking failure to create something new. Courage is not reserved for the heroes. It's available to you and me in the choices we make every day. Now, why is action so central to the fearless mindset? Why not just think positive thoughts or repeat affirmation or try to feel courageous? Because here's the truth. Fear feeds on inaction. The longer you wait, the louder fear gets. Action disrupts fear. Fear is like a bully. It grows when you run, but shrinks when you face it. When you take action, even small action, you break fear's rhythm. Action builds momentum. Courage is not a one-time decision. No, it's a daily practice. And once you take one step, the next one becomes easier. Think of it like pushing a heavy boulder. At first, it's almost impossible to budge, but with one push, then another, it starts to roll. Momentum is born from movement. Action rewrites your brain. Neuroscience shows that our brains build new connection based on experience. When you do something you thought you couldn't, your brain registers. I survived. I am capable. I can do this again. That's how confidence is built, not by waiting, but by doing. Action attracts opportunities. Here's the thing. Life rewards movement. When you step out, people notice. Doors open, resources show up. You meet people you never would have met sitting on the sideline. Think of it like a seed planted in the ground. If it stays buried, nothing happens. But when it begins to push through the soil, even though it's fragile, even though it's small, it sets in motion a process that leads to growth, fruit, and life. Your actions are those first pushes through the soil. So remember, you don't need to feel courageous to act. You act, and the feeling of courage comes later. Now let's talk about taking bold steps in business. Think about any entrepreneur you know, or maybe you've read their story. Almost every successful business owner started with uncertainty and fear. Picture this. A new business owner decides to take a chance. They've been sitting on an idea for months, maybe even years. Finally, they stepped out. They opened the doors, launched the website, or signed that first contract. But fear is still there with them. Fear says, what if no one shows up? What if this fails? What if people laugh at me? They don't feel ready, but they take action anyway. They invest in marketing they are not even sure will work. They hire an employee even though it feels risky. They pitch their product to new potential clients, knowing that they might hear no. And here's the part. Every time they took action, fear lost a little power. Every step forward built momentum. Every risk created new opportunities. The business didn't grow because fear disappeared. It grew because the owner acted in spite of fear. That's what courage in action looks like. It's not about waiting until you feel confident. It's about choosing to act first, then let confidence follow. Now, how do you take a bold step towards your dream? Well, number one, start small, but start. Don't wait for the perfect leap. Begin the first bold step. Record the video. Write the first page. Make the phone call. Small action build courage. Number two, set fear challenges. Every week, do one thing that scares you. Introduce yourself to someone new. Volunteer for a project. Share your work publicly. The more fear you face, the smaller it becomes. Number three, focus on the next step, not the whole mountain. Dreams look overwhelming when you stare at the finish line. Break it down. Ask yourself, what is the next bold step I can take today? Number four, celebrate acts of courage, not just results. You see, too often we only celebrate outcomes, winning the contracts, landing the job, reaching the milestone. But real growth is in celebrating the act of courage itself. Number five, surround yourself with courageous people. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. Stay close to people who take bold steps, and it will inspire you to do the same. Now let's move on to the ripple effect of action. Here is something we often overlook. Courage is contagious. When you take bold action, you don't just change your life, you influence the people around you. Think about the times you've seen someone you admire step out and take a risk. Maybe they left a job they hated to start something new. Maybe they spoke up for what was right when everyone else stayed silent. Maybe they shared their art, their writing, their story, knowing they could be judged. When you see someone act with courage, it sparks something in you. It makes you think, if they can do it, maybe I can. And here's the powerful truth about that. Someone is watching you right now. Your children, your friends, your co-workers, they're observing how you handle fear and take risks, how you respond to challenges. And every time you choose courage, you give them permission to do the same. This ripple effect is how movements are born, how cultures shift, how families break cycle. One person's courage becomes another person's inspiration. So the next time fear tempts you to stay quiet or stay small, remember, it's not just about you. Your courage could be the spark that sets someone else free. So this week, I want you to reflect on the following questions. What bold step have I been putting forward because of fear? What is one action I can take this week, even if I feel scared? Who in my life needs to see me living courageously so they can be inspired to do the same? My friends, courage is not something you wait for. Courage is something you do. Don't wait for fear to go away. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take the step, even if your hands are shaking. Because as my friend Jalata Abdo said, action kills fear. And with every step forward, you grow stronger, braver, and closer to your dreams. This is episode 3 of the Fearless Mindset series, and we are building towards the official launch of the Fearless Mindset course this October. If today's message stirred something in you, stay tuned because we are just getting started. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for growing with Mentium. And remember, courage in action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Until next time, take care of yourself and your loved ones. I am Majama, and this is Mentium. Peace.